I was very lucky. From the time I was 5, I wanted to be a jockey, and I found it very strange in school when lads didn't know what they want to be when they grow up, so I was very lucky that way.
And we've got some great shots of you here on the races of you when you were very young, sort of riding ponies and stuff. Were you pretty much a natural?
I'd like to think so, yeah. I was riding out 3 lots a day for Dad when I was 10, so I got the knack of it pretty quick.
I think your first group winner was for Noel Mead, funny enough, on Street Rebel back in 1992. In those early days, who were you attached to? Who were you with at that time?
I was apprenticed to my father, and I rode work for Michael Grassick and Declan Gillespie and other trainers, and Noel Mead was a big supporter in the younger days on flat and over jumps.
It's easy to forget what good horses you rode pretty quickly, but I noticed you were on Piccolo for Mick Shannon at a young age.
Yeah, I came over in 94, and the following year in Ascot I got up on him and won the King Standing, so I had another winner as well. The first year was Sergeyev, so I was very lucky I started on good horses.
And not just strangely enough, the best sort of horse you rode for the Hannon Yard early on was Assessor, I think, who, you know, people wouldn't think that the best horse you'd be riding for Hannons early on would be a sort of 2-mile plus horse sort of thing, but he was a really good stare back in the day for the Nielsen.
He was. I think he was sold to Saudi and he came back again, and that's when I arrived in the yard, and I won an Italian ledger on him, I think. So he was a lovely old horse.
At that time, you were sort of riding occasionally over hurdles. I mean, one of my favourite hurdlers was his song, who I think he probably had some problems, but he was a huge horse. And I remember finishing second to Istabrack over in Ireland over there. I mean, he was a real monster. How much did you enjoy that hurdling period?
I loved it, and I had it in place, so if my weight didn't hold, I would have something to fall back on. The only thing when I rode over in the winter time, I put on a lot of muscle over my shoulders and that, so it was quite hard to get the weight off. But when I was about 20, I knew I could manage it.
You rode Cockney Lad to win the champion hurdle, eh?
Yeah, I beat Theatre World. Yeah. He was always a great runner-up, but they were good days, yeah, and it makes you appreciate the flat a lot more.
Of course, during the middle of your career, you got that job with Abdullah, and then you started riding some real top notches on the flat, the likes of Oasis, Dream, etc. I mean, at that stage of your career, what were your favourite horses? Which of the horses you're always sort of go to bed at night thinking, oh, I'm pleased I managed to get on that one?
Oasis Dream is a great horse, lovely, kind horse, and that's why he's probably such a good stallion. A very good nature, very fast, and also had Nebraska Tornado. She's probably the best filly I ever rode. Yep. I remember I rode for Andre Fab one day in the Moulin. There was about 12 Group 1 winners, and I asked him, what will I do? He said, do what you like, she'll win. And she went off and made all and won easy.
Do you remember those sort of years as the Abdullah retained rider? Were they happy years? Were they good years for you?
They were great years. I went from riding for Richard and freelancing and a bit for Mick Shannon at the time, and all of a sudden I was offered this wonderful job, and I grasped and I loved every minute of it.
And more recently, of course, married into the Hannon family, so it was natural that you would be always involved with the Hannons, and I guess Camphor Cliffs would be a horse more recently that you will have very much enjoyed riding. Yeah,
when I left Ireland I went to Richard first, and since 94 I've been working with Richard, and then I got married to Lizzie, of course, and Camphor Cliffs was just an icing on the cake. From the first time I rode him, I thought he was the best horse I ever rode.
And so I was going to say, putting it down to basics, the best you've ever rode, you would say, Camphor, over Oasis Dream?
Yeah, well, if Oasis Dream got the mile, it might have been different, but he didn't, and Camphor Cliffs, he was just a wonderful horse, and we'll probably never see a Coventry winner like it. He actually ran away with me in the Coventry and still won.
So let's say Camphor's the best. What about the horse that excited you most from the point of view it was a tricky horse that gave you a bit of a kick when you managed to score?
Harmonic Way was a great thrill. I got on him as a maiden 4-year-old, and I managed to win the Stewards Cup on him. I rode him in Newbury one day and I told Roger I have the key to him, and that was to drop him out last and pass as many horses on the bridle as he could.
And as far as tracks are concerned, we've read in your column that Windsor was a track that you felt you were the governor, but if you could nominate your 3 favourite tracks for riding, where would you go there?
Ascot, Goodwood, probably here. Been a very lucky track, and I wouldn't have been lucky only I was riding for Richard Hannon every Monday night with the odds on 2-year-old favourite nearly every Monday, so that was a huge help.
And you've had great thoughts about the racing game. Summing up your days as a jockey, I mean, has it been great? Have you loved every minute of it, but now it's time to move on, or were there bits that frustrated you? Because you talk about the game very freely.
No, I love racing. It's in my blood. No matter what I be, if I was driving the box, I think I'd still like it. But I was very lucky to be a successful jockey, and I want to go out on top, and I'm looking forward to my next career as a trainer, and I'm very lucky to be able to walk into another job just like that.
Do you already have owners that you've ridden for that are... I mean, are there any owners that you can tell us that you ride for at the moment that are definitely having horses with you?
Oh, there's plenty there. Not in stone, but I'm going to take their word that they're going to give me some horses, so I'm pleased with that.
Yeah. And when you start, how many do you think you'd have in the first run you take out? How many would you think would be at home at that stage?
I'll probably start off at 10 or 15 older horses. The horse and training sale is not till end of October. There's been a sale already. We managed to get a few there. So most of them are all spelling at the moment. So I'll probably start with 10, 15, and then the band of yearlings will start coming in straight away. So I hope to end up with about 60 by Christmas.
And it's all pretty advanced at the moment in many ways. I mean, when do you anticipate your first runner?
I'm not sure. I'm going to wait till I get my licence first to make no decisions. As you know, I'm moving into Ken Cunningham Brown's yard, and they've been welcoming me with open arms, and I'm very grateful to them for that. So there's no rush.
You've emphasised you'll give apprentices the chance, but I'm fascinated in the first sort of top jockey you put up, because we don't really know which jockeys you think are good or bad. For all I know, you think Dettori's terrible and you think Moore will be on everything. Or you might say, to be honest, I think they're both rubbish and I'm going to have, I don't know, Pat Dobbs on all of them. You know, is there someone out there that you are likely to lose, that you've tapped on the shoulder and said, you know, you're going to get a few for me because I think you're all right?
No, I don't think there's any need.
Do you think Dettori's terrible?
No, I certainly don't. I wish I was half as good as them. I'll use the best available, and we all know who they are. And if I have a few young lads in the yard, I'm going to try and get them going. I got a chance when I was young, and I'd like to do the same to young fellas coming through. That if we don't look after these apprentices, who